Okay, Chuck, let me give a little bit of an introduction and then we'll throw it over to you. So growing your motorsports business in the digital age by Digital Momentum, that's the name of this webinar. We have Chuck Tate, founder and CEO of Digital Momentum with us. They have a showcase on EPARTRADE, so you can work your way through that. I'll just kind of describe Digital Momentum from what they have in the showcase. Digital Momentum provides winning sales and digital marketing solutions for the best and brightest organizations in the automotive performance and motorsports industry who are frustrated that their website is not driving the results they expect. We help the companies by combining our knowledge of the racing industry with user-centric website design and development principles, along with the digital sales and marketing practices to deliver marketing victories that you can measure. And I can personally testify that Chuck knows the racing industry. He's got one foot in at the edge of digital marketing, and his one foot firmly planted in the racing industry. He has for years. And I always talk about people like Chuck as he speaks racing. And believe me, that's important. I've worked with different agencies in the past, and you talk to them, you tell them all about the racing industry, you tell them all about what you do in the racing industry, and they say, okay, we'll come back. And they work on it for 6 weeks and make a big presentation. And they tell you, we've got it. Checkered flag. We're going to put a checkered flag on your website. And it's like, oh, God, the checkered flag is a played out concept in the racing industry, 40, 50 years ago. People stopped using the checkered flag. And you're not going to get the big idea of being a checkered flag from Chuck. All right. I just want you to know that. Chuck and I have had a lot of great conversations. And then one of the great things about working with Chuck is that if he sees something on the internet that could be educational for somebody like me when it comes to digital marketing, he'll send it to me. And there's no give me money for this. It's just, John, I want to help you. I want to help you be successful. And when you describe your business to Chuck, he listens. So that's kind of what we're doing today. Chuck, welcome. What do you want to tell the worldwide racing industry today about Digital Momentum and what you do over there?
Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks for the introduction there, John. I mean, today what I'd like to do is I'm going to talk about how we like to use digital marketing to help our customers grow their business. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. I'll even turn off my camera so you can focus on that. But let me go ahead and make sure that I can share this successfully. All right. Can you see my screen there?
Looks great to me.
All right, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if I can turn my video off here. There you go. All right. So what I'm going to do is, by nature, I'm a competitive person, and that really weaves into the personality of Digital Momentum. So you may hear me refer to business growth as winning, because we want to help brands that deserve to win. So I appreciate the introduction, but I'll go ahead and I'll put up this slide in case anybody wants to take a note. But like you said, I am the founder of Digital Momentum and formerly Racer Sites. And that part's important because as a company, we've been focused on motorsports for more than 20 years. As Racer Sites, we were a traditional website design and development company, and we work with some great brands from manufacturers and service providers, teams and drivers, sponsors and tracks. So yeah, when we say that we get racing, we really do. We learned though that websites and social media alone was just not enough. So for roughly the past 4 years as Digital Momentum, we've expanded and we've grown into a digital marketing / growth agency that uses digital strategies to help our customers grow their business, or like I like to say, start winning. So enough about me. Let's go ahead and get started for how this may be able to help you. Francisco may not like this point, but my first title for this webinar was actually The Problem with Racing as a Business and How to Fix It. But let's just say that I was strongly advised not to use that title, so I changed it to Growing Your Motorsports Business in the Digital Age. But the point is even though the title's different, the business problem or the challenge for you and your business may remain the same, and that is, how do you create predictable and repeatable growth for your business? And I can tell you that it's been a tough year for everybody that I've known in the sport. But one of the silver linings during this pandemic is that here we took a really hard look at our business with the goal of driving greater clarity for how we can help our customers grow their business. And that resulted in some modifications to our process and to show how we're using digital marketing when positioned correctly from the ground up to help our customers scale successful marketing initiatives to grow. And so our process starts as a documentation of the buyer profile and the brand narrative. and your competitive landscape. And then the output of that exercise becomes a blueprint to articulate the who, the what, the why, the how, and the when for your business. And most businesses that we've talked with have not defined those necessary details in order to create growth for their business. So over the next 5 slides, I'm going to ask you if you have answered these questions for your business. So who? Do you know who your target customers are? Do you know what their core problems and what their motivations are to buy your products or services? The what? Do you know what solutions your prospects are considering and what might be wrong with those solutions as it pertains to what they need? The why is, can you articulate why your solution has proven results to be able to get them to their payoff? And the how is, do you and everyone in your company know your brand promise? And the brand promise should be supported by your reputation, your products, your services, and how you benefit your customers. When? Do you know your buyer's suspicions in order to alleviate their objections, so when they are ready to buy, that there's a higher probability they will convert on your offer and you can close that business? So those are some challenging questions for most businesses to answer, and even more challenging to get them right. So what we've done is we've created this process to help our customers answer those questions and put it into a blueprint that we refer to as this digital growth plan. So I'll take a few minutes to show you what it is and who it's for and what it does. And my hope is that I can help you, 1, identify the exact steps that you should be taking to scale growth in your business, and 2, determine if you need help to drive growth faster. And by the end of this talk, you should be able to determine if it's a good place for you to start in order to help your brand start winning. So if I recap the challenge, the goal of most businesses that I know is to scale growth and impact. But many times the challenge is that companies are getting sales and they think that they can just expand quickly and easily and profitably, but it just doesn't happen that way, because most of the incoming business that they have is based on referrals. And just to be clear, referrals are not bad. Referrals are fantastic. They're probably one of the greatest channels to bring in new sales, but a lot of brands that are looking to scale beyond the word of mouth leads because they don't have that super strong referral base, like some big customers or big companies like Zoom or Tesla or Uber. So And even keep in mind that these well-known companies have strong referrals. They still want and need to build a growth plan in order to reach that place where they can scale their growth. So assuming that you may not have that Tesla level of referrals happening in your business, I can help you and your business grow and scale beyond those word of mouths. Again, we want to help those brands that want to win. So let's talk about understanding and creating that plan for your business, right? So the problem for most businesses in their marketing is that it's not working effectively. Maybe they run print ads and maybe they attend trade shows. Maybe they have a website. Maybe they send e-newsletters to their customers or people who sign up on their website. Maybe they even spend some money on Facebook or Google ads, but those efforts are not converting the sales and the revenue that they expect. And the lack of conversion, thus the lack of leads and new customers, means that something's happening that's preventing the conversion that you expect. So if that sounds like your business, what I would say is you're probably not quite ready to scale, at least not yet. You probably have an engagement gap or a conversion gap or both. And both of these problems are going to limit success and they're going to reduce ROI from your marketing dollars. So if you have someone, maybe internal, maybe external, working on a website or any of the tasks that I just mentioned, then you're spending money on marketing. So my advice is, don't keep spending money without understanding how to make that work for your business. So you might say, okay, fine, but what do I need to do? And so sometimes, just like drivers, right? When you're entering a corner, sometimes the best thing to do is to slow down a little bit to be able to go faster. So your first steps will be to fix those gaps. And this is the effort that makes the marketing dollars move off of the expense side of your business and then start to return growth. So what is your risk by not fixing it? So if you walk away from this and you're like, I just don't, what's the risk? The risk is losing time and money. And when your marketing is not performing, it is not hard to lose a year before realizing that you have to get down to those core issues and start to rebuild. So my goal, get your business on track for growth, right? So if you find that any of your symptoms and needs align with this digital growth plan, you can set up a time for us to talk about your business. I'll run through our process now, and I'll just leave it up to you if you want to discuss that further. So for us to get this right, and before you go off and you scale anything, it's really about building a system of growth. So here's our process. Everybody that I know wants to be the category king. So if you look on this chart in the upper right-hand corner, it's symbolized by the trophy cup. But before you can be the leader, you need to be outselling and outgrowing your competition. And frankly, if you were already doing that, you probably wouldn't be listening to me. You'd be working on a different set of business challenges. So when you're not the growth leader, we try to look at what's happening that is profitable and something that we might be able to scale. So now you might start moving from the trophy in the top right, you start moving left on the top row. But unfortunately, most of the time, there's either nothing or not enough that's happening that is profitable and ready to be scaled. So for example, if you already had a process to generate content for your website and you knew the process and the frequency to send your newsletters and post it on social, and you could measure a definitive increase in leads, we would just create a plan with you to help you basically do more of the same, or we would tell you just keep doing that, and we might be able to measure some things differently, but you would essentially just be adding fuel to a well-tuned engine. But most of the time, when we talk to companies, we have to dig back and we have to understand what needs to be tuned, because there's often not a lot that's working well and ready to be tuned. So what we do is we go back to understand what drives quality leads for your business. So if you come down to the second row in the diagram, what we're looking at here is we're looking at lead magnets. And so when I use the word or the term quality leads, I'm really asking what is driving sales ready leads for your business. Essentially, when does your prospect have enough information to actually buy from you? And a lot of the times a business, they're getting some leads, but they might not be qualified leads. And that problem suggests that your marketing and your lead magnets are not working. So those are some gaps that you need to fix. And many times business leaders don't even stop to realize that if your leads are not qualified, that your process is actually costing your business money rather than making you money. So in addition to any expense that you might have in marketing, you might have somebody spending time chasing unqualified leads that ultimately aren't going to close in the revenue that you're looking for. So I'll tell you that this is common. And if you think you're in this situation, what you don't want to do is you don't want to redesign your website. You don't want to put additional money into marketing like digital ads or campaign. That would actually be a horrible decision. And first, you need to figure out what is working. And I can help you from making this mistake, because when we were racer sites, we've been in the business for 20 plus years, and I've seen it time and time again. And so what I will tell you is that a prettier version of a website that is already proven to not convert successfully is not going to do anything but spend time and spend money, right? So you have to figure out how to fix the conversion, not the graphics. So many brands try this path of changing their look and their website, their booth display, but they ignore the foundational steps. Now come down to the engage level down in the orange boxes, right? Getting the engage foundation correct is really what creates high conversion. And this is the process of creating the buyer's journey. Your buyer's journey for your business is where the magic happens, right? So this is how we can go from a brochure website that might work well for referrals to a website that actually converts leads. And so if you're trying any digital marketing, maybe you're focused on either advertising based where you're creating search ads or ads for social, inbound where maybe you're creating content for certain channels, or even SEO where you're trying to optimize your keywords. But just remember, buying is an emotional process, and simply put, people buy when they feel like it. So your prospects, when they're on your website, they need a very easy way to jump into your sales process. These people are not entirely familiar with you. So what they need to have is they need to have the right process to engage with your brand. So let's talk about how we put high conversion buyer journeys in place to engage your market. So down in that bottom row, we hear from a lot of people like, I don't want to work on that. It feels very fundamental to my business, but I have to be honest with you, this is where the gold is, right? I would say, who is your target market? And understanding their emotional triggers. What are their wants, their needs, fears, anxieties, habits to change in order to be able to buy from you. And then you want to know, who are they looking at alongside of you that may be your competitor, and what's your competitor's position? Because if you can understand both the customer and the competitive landscape, it's critical to getting the right message and the buyer's journey. And so those are the details that we work into a brand narrative for your business. And so you have to remember, yes, it is about you. When we go to websites, we see all the things that people want to tell their prospective audience about themselves. And so while it is about you, you have to remember, it's also about your customer. And because buying's always an emotional process, your customer, they need to find themselves in your brand narrative. So thinking of competition, right? I would ask what is your differentiation? What is your competitive advantage? And I hear from a lot of brands, they say it's their service or their support or their value compared to their competitors. But what I'll say is you may be in trouble if that's what you say, because everyone says that. And so if everyone says it, it's not really a marketable competitive advantage. It just becomes a race to the bottom because you have to compete on price in order to win. And I want to help people get out of that position. I want to help people create a profitable customer acquisition campaign that has a very high win rate and a high profit margin for their business. So how do we get there? So through this digital growth plan, we go through the steps to define your customer profile, your brand narrative, and your competitive advantage and build your buyer's journey. And we do that over 4 weeks. And it takes about 4 weeks because it's not done at a low level. We do this at a deep level with a really strong collaboration with our customers. We feel like, at a low level, what we could do is we could just send you recordings and have you fill out worksheets and you could send them back. But what we'd rather do and what we find is much more effective is working with our customers. So we take a deep dive for those brands that deserve to win. We look at your competitors, we talk about your target market and building a system that's going to create the most value for your customer before, during, and after the sale. And we work and we put in the work together, and that's how we win, because we deserve to win. We did the work together to get this right. And this creates the foundation for your copy and your content for your website and your other marketing offers. So we need to be able to create offers that drive lead generation, because driving those qualified leads as well as closing leads. So some core offers that increase your win rate and increase your margin, those need to be right. That's where you're gonna focus on that foundation for growth. So after this work is complete, our customers then choose. They can either take that information and they can self-implement, or they can continue working with us to move through the convert and the scale stages. So honestly, we believe this is the path if you're interested in growing your business successfully. So the time investment, I hear from a lot of people like, I don't know if I have the time. So I would say that if you feel like you don't have the time, it probably means that right now this isn't a priority for your business at this moment, because the way that we see it is there is 168 hours in a week. And if you can't carve out 5 to 8 hours per week to build that foundation, then right now it's probably just not a current fit. And that's not a problem. I'm not telling anyone how they need to spend their time. I just spend a lot of time telling people what this is. So I also like to tell people what it's not. This is not for those owners that are too busy because they're working in their business. This is something that is really all about working on your business. So based on my experience and in my opinion, you can run all the marketing campaigns you want. You can set up tons and tons of offers. But if you don't have that buyer's journey right, the core components that build that buyer's journey correctly, nothing else matters. But if you do get it right, whomever builds your website or whomever helps you with your marketing is going to look like a genius, because the core foundation is in place. And so this is why I believe that the process sits at the core of the business growth. And so this is where we find that the results are. So this is where we focus our time. So if you're looking to work with digital momentum or you're looking to self-implement, we believe that this is the right path. And we ensure that we're doing this for brands that want to win. And that's why you would go through this. So I would say, ask yourself, is this what your business needs? And then is this the right thing for you to be working on right now? If so, let's go forward and see if we can help your company start winning. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. And let me get you back on. You're right there. Thank you. Great presentation. Again, that was to take a little bit the mystery of the digital world for some people that might be interested. So great presentation.
Let me just step in real quick and ask Chuck. Sometimes I feel like the racing industry, a lot of really good companies are behind on the digital marketing. That we're an industry that just wasn't on the front edge of the digital marketing revolution. Sometimes I feel when it comes to budget, there's companies that are stepping over a $10 bill to pick up a $1 bill. So when it comes time to spend the money, I mean, how do you frame that up for them?
Well, at first I like to ask what's important. What are their goals? I mean, that's where we start the process, is really trying to understand, when you're going through defining your customers and the problems and trying to understand the emotional side, we also want to understand the goals and the objectives. So, we simply have a conversation. For this, we've got actually, for this digital growth plan, we wanted to prove that it was going to be something that was successful. So what we did is we offer a risk-free guarantee. So we tell people that if you're halfway through this and you don't feel like it's transforming your business, we'll refund the money. And so when we have that, we try to make sure that anything that we do, we can put in a position where we measure it, and we try to at least 4 to 5x their growth over a period of 12 to 18 months.
That's very cool. Now, I want to kind of testify on Chuck's behalf that if you're thinking you might be interested in working with Digital Momentum, call Chuck. Sometimes you call people with companies, it just feels like a trap. You got suckered in and you can't get off the phone. Now, with Chuck, just have the conversation. He's comfortable to talk to. He'll work with you. He'll help define stuff for you if you can't quite understand the terminology or all that. And like I say, he speaks racing. So it's just, don't hesitate to call Chuck.
Registering on EPARTRADE is easy. Fill out your name, email, phone number, and create a secure password. Next, select your business type. Choose supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose racing business if you're looking to find new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose race team if you own or are a member of a professional racing team. Begin typing your company name. We most likely already have your company in our database, which you can select from the drop-down. Then, enter your job title. Choose Claim Company if you'll be editing your company profile. Other members of your company can choose Join Company if they'd like to use EPARTRADE as well. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Click Register Now, and your registration will be submitted for approval. You'll need to confirm your email once it goes through. To keep our platform industry only, you'll be approved shortly after. If we require additional proof of business, we'll reach out. Welcome to EPARTRADE.